Hey guys, it's me, Thomas, and today, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. And for this video, as for today, I'm going to do a review slash rant on Mr. Pickles, Game of the Year of 2013. So, base of the plot is that we have a dog named Mr. Pickles who has his friend over there named Tommy. And yeah, they're really bad characters in my opinion, but Mr. Pickles is the worst character ever in the entire show. Yes, I'm gonna do a review slash rant on another Adult Swim show that I hate. Yeah, if you don't know what Mr. Pickles is, Mr. Pickles is an Adult Swim show, and this show is about a dog that likes to kill people in the film. No, TV show. Yeah. Mr. Pickles is a dog that kills people in the show. And then the worst part is that Tommy gives him a pickle for killing people and says good boy to him. What? You don't deserve that. Killing is not right. Mr. Pickles is supposed to be bad boy for killing people. And besides, if you kill someone in real life, you can go to jail for doing that. Well, thank God I never watched the episodes. And I never did and I never will. Otherwise, it would waste my time for fun. And yes, Natalie Coxes, if you're watching this is for you. My review slash rant on Mr. Pickles. Because I know it's your number one worst show ever. Speaking of my number one worst show ever, if you're wondering what's my number one worst show ever, well, I've changed a number one worst show ever today. Yeah. You know when Boz used to be my number one worst show ever from September 2018 to today, the 17th of March 2025? Yeah. Bodge is no longer my number one worst show ever, but keep in mind that I still hate Bodge myself. And it's also to prove that I'm not taking that show way to the extreme. If you're wondering what my new number one worst show ever is, bingo, it's The Nut Shack. Yeah, The Nut Shack is now my new number one worst show ever in my opinion. Yeah, The Nut Shack is even worse. Yeah, The Nut Shack is the worst adult show ever in history, and it's my new number one worst show ever. My new number one least favorite show ever, in my opinion. Well, Mr. Pickles is my number second worst show ever that aired on Adult Swim. No, yeah, my number second worst show ever that is for adults. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is my number second worst adult show ever. And it's also my number third worst show ever. Behind The Nut Shack and the Problem Solvers. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is my number second worst adult show ever. And yeah, speaking of Adult Swim, Mr. Pickles is now my new number one worst show ever that's from Adult Swim. Because I find Mr. Pickles to be even worse than Robot Chicken, in my opinion. Mr. Pickles has a lot of blood and gore in it, just like Happy Tree Friends as well. Although I am neutral to Happy Tree Friends myself. But what Mr. Pickles did was a crime. He kills people in the show, and then he gets a pickle off Tommy and said to Mr. Pickles, said to him that he was a good boy for killing people. Like, what the hell? He shouldn't be a good boy for killing people. He's supposed to be a bad boy. If you do that in real life, killing is not right. You can go to jail for doing that. Mr. Pickles could have been arrested for doing that. he could have been sentenced for a long time or life sentence in dog jail for doing that. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is got to be one of the worst adult animated cartoons that I've ever seen in my whole life. And it's my number third worst show ever. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is now my new number third worst show ever. And yeah, my new number second worst show ever is The Problem Solvers. Because, The Problem Solvers is also a really horrible show, in my opinion. Worst show ever on Cartoon Network. It's also, yeah, The Problem Solvers is the worst kids show ever. But big kid animated cartoon, The Problem Solvers, that aired on Cartoon Network, it burned people's eyes. While The Nut Shack, it's now my new number one worst show ever. That means goodbye, Bodge, and hello to The Nut Shack to become my new number one worst show ever. Yeah, The Nut Shack became my number one worst show ever today. Yeah, I used to like The Nut Shack back then. I can't even believe I used to like The Nut Shack back in 2019. I watched it as a flippin' 11-year-old that was about to leave my primary school. It's like the Nut Shack actually didn't suit my age, didn't fit my age, in my opinion. Yeah. What was I thinking when I watched the Nut Shack? Well, Mr. Pickles, I never watched this show. I never did, and I never will. Because otherwise, it would have been a huge waste of time. Mr. Pickles is a very gory show and so violent. It's like, and a bit scary, in my opinion, the way that Mr. Pickles kills people brutally. Yeah. The way that he kills people, that Tommy said that he was a good boy for doing that. Tommy just gives him a pickle for killing people and said to him that he was a good boy, which, like I said, he's not a good boy. He's a bad boy. Mr. Pickles should be arrested for doing that. It's like, what is wrong with this show? What was the creators thinking when they made this show? That's just messed up, in my opinion. Really messed up. Yeah, Mr. Pickles could have seriously go to jail for doing that. If you want to watch a better adult show, go watch Family Guy. And not to mention about dogs, go watch Family Guy. Family Guy is way better than Mr. Pickles. If you don't like Mr. Pickles, please don't watch it. Because Mr. Pickles is not a very nice show, in my opinion. It's just not very nice. Brian Griffin is a dog, and he is way better than Mr. Pickles. And if Brian Griffin and Mr. Pickles would have had a crossover, they would have had a fight. And then Mr. Pickles would lose, and I hope Brian Griffin would win. Although Brian Griffin is a fictional character, just like Mr. Pickles is. It's like, if there would have been an episode from Family Guy featuring Mr. Pickles, it's like, if Brian Griffin and Mr. Pickles would have met, although they were fictional characters, Brian Griffin would win. He would probably want to, defeat Mr. Pickles, in my opinion. The boy, Tommy, which is on the left side of the screen next to Mr. Pickles, I bet he's like an evil kid, in my opinion. He's just he looks like he is about to, he's like a hunter, in my opinion. I mean, he looks like he's not a nice character, in my opinion. He's just like an antagonist. Well, Mr. Pickles is the real antagonist in this show. And the other characters in the show, well, the other characters, I don't even know about them. I've I've I have nothing to say about the other characters, but I know they're not very good, in my opinion. Yeah, Mr. Pickles has got to be one of the worst adult shows I've ever seen in my whole life. It's like, even if I'm turning 18 this year on the 26th of December, Mr. Pickles is still a terrible show. There's no way on God's green and blue earth that I am watching this show ever in my whole life. Mr. Pickles is a very bad show, in my opinion. It's horrible. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is absolutely terrible. Terrible animation, terrible voicing. Mr. Pickles looks like he's very crazy. Mr. Pickles looks really crazy, in my opinion. It's quite disturbing the way that he just runs towards people and just runs fast towards them to kill people. It's just not a very nice show, in my opinion. It's like, if you don't like Mr. Pickles, please don't watch it. It's just not a nice show. If you want to watch a better show, go watch Family Guy. Because, yeah, I know featuring dogs, Brian Griffin is a better dog. Brian Griffin is a dog. Yeah, Brian Griffin is way better than Mr. Pickles. What other shows are better than Mr. Pickles? We also got American Dad, The Simpsons, South Park, and many more adult shows I like. But what about Mr. Pickles? Awful. Very bad, in my opinion. It's got to be one of the worst adult shows I've ever seen in my whole life. Well, The Nut Shack is actually my number one worst show ever. Yeah, Mr. Pickles, out of the adult shows, is my number second worst adult animated show ever. While The Nut Shack is the worst ever. Yeah, Bodge is no longer my number one worst show ever. Although I still hate Bodge myself, but it's no longer on my top 5 worst shows ever. Not even top 10. This is also to prove that I stopped taking Bodge way to the extreme. Yeah. This is to prove that I've stopped taking Bodge way to the extreme after, like, nearly 5 years, I think. Yeah. While The Nut Shack, I am trying not to take this show to the extreme. But I will have, the premiere released today. Yeah, the premiere was released today. Yeah, The Nut Shack is my new number one worst show ever. I wasn't trying to take the show to the extreme, as you saw my opinion changed video as for today. Yeah. Although, you know Phil Mattibag from The Nut Shack, I may make grounded videos out of him one day, but I will decide when I will make grounded videos out of him or not. Because, you know grounded videos? I'm currently making grounded videos out of Queen Grimhild, also known as Evil Queen. Because Evil Queen is an antagonist in Snow White, and she is Snow White's worst enemy. Yeah. As of now, I'm making grounded videos out of Queen Grimhild. What about the Teletubbies Get Shot counterparts? I don't make grounded videos out of them much anymore, but I just go for a long hiatus of them. What about Bodge and Rooper? Permanently stopped making grounded videos out of them. I no longer make grounded videos out of Bodge and Rooper. I don't make grounded videos out of Bodge and Rooper anymore. And I don't make edit videos out of Bodge anymore. Or I don't even make Bodge and rated episodes anymore. I stopped in February 2022. And I also stopped making videos of Rupert from Bodge where Rupert can't sleep. Yeah, I stopped making Rupert can't sleep videos. That's why I don't to make videos of Bodge anymore. What I mean is I stopped taking Bodge to the extreme. Yeah, it's no longer my number one least favorite show ever. And now my new number one least favorite show ever is, as for today, is The Nut Shack. So Natalie Coxis, Andrea, aka Pink Princess Andrea 2025, and other users out there that I like so much, and the rest of my fans, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoy my review / rant on Mr. Pickles. But anyways, I give this show a 0 out of 10. It is horrible in my opinion. Very atrocious. But anyways, guys, this includes this review / rant. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.